Welcome back to maybe the final episode of There Are Only 200 Pokemon. I have managed to fit all the Pokemon on a single page, and you can almost make them out. And if you're wondering, oh, this is looking pretty good, it must be almost there, we're just going to keep most of these, right? That way I don't have to make too many hard choices. Well, I did a little math, and looks like an insane person, but yeah, I did a little bit of math. And so this box plus this would give you 200 Pokemon. And then if you add, this box plus this group, plus these two, equal 100 Pokemon. 200 Pokemon. And then if you add the additional 50, which are outside of it here, these ones, then that would take us to 250. And that isn't including any of these Pokemon. So basically we have to get rid of 50 from this side of the page, and then we have to fight to keep any of these. So that's going to be something. Something's going to get left behind. A lot of things are going to get left behind. So I think, and the ones with the green dots are the ones that I might want to add back that I wasn't sure about. So those are also going to make it even trickier. To start with, I think I'm just going to get rid of some on this side that I definitely won't be making it. Right, so if you want to just zoom out, this is my list of pretty decent Pokemon for the most part. There's some that I just didn't get to, but these are the ones I think are pretty decent, but maybe need some work. And of course there was some bug Pokemon I liked more than the other Pokemon here, but I wanted to be able to have some variety instead of just having half of the Pokemon be the evolutions of a couple bugs. And I think the ones that definitely aren't going to make it are these airplanes. So that's Latios and Latias, just gone. Actually, to make my future life easier, because there we go. I can think ahead, there we go. I will put that on a different layer. So yeah, they're not going to make it. I'm tempted to swap out Mankey for these two. Or Mankey and Primate, but something about them sets me off a bit. Torterra is not making it. That's not happening. I really like Absol. He used to be my favorite Pokemon. So I definitely want to get them across if I can. Lugia, I loved the anime with Lugia in it, but we might not have room for a bunch of legendaries. I'm kind of torn about these ones. I really like these ones, so these are high priority to get back in. So maybe I'll put a big old dot above the ones I want to high priority. Chansey I could have sworn I already got in, but I counted them, so it doesn't really matter if I got her in or not. Now I just need to get rid of Pokemon if I want to have her. So who can we afford to get rid of? And I think I hope people don't get too angry at me for this, but I think Gardevoir is going to be the first to go. I hope they can forgive me. And that will allow... How am I going to do this? I guess I need to get rid of 50 on this side, so I don't need to worry about moving stuff over. Okay, so would I rather have, say, I get rid of Hoothoot and Noctowl and get Rufflet and Bravery? I don't know what... I don't actually like Hoothoot's design, but it feels like it wouldn't be a Pokemon game without Hoothoot, and I didn't even play the second generation, really. I don't know what it is, but something about Hoothoot. I get this feeling... when I'm playing Darkest Dungeon as well, if I have a bunch of mods for Darkest Dungeon going, and I get a character that I really don't like, I want to play with them until they die and they break, or they prove themselves to me and I see them in this new light where I respect them, that they just won't die. And I think Hoothoot's the same, where I would want to have it in all my teams just to see it overcome my hatred of it. Which maybe in such a limited list isn't the way to be looking at it. Vibrava might have to go. Not because it's bad, but because I need space. And so many monkeys. Do I want a Mankey and a Primate, or do I have to choose? I kind of prefer Mankey, actually. The main reason I'm keeping Cleavor is he feels kind of neat. Like, he feels special. The Scyther evolutions feel... They were kind of the original, like, Alolan form type thing. Like, the original variant Pokemon. And having a new one is kind of a neat callback to that. Man, I'm just looking at all of these and thinking these are great. Okay, I think Cramorant is going to have to go. If I want to, because I really actually do like... Wingull and Pelipper. I think they're very fitting. I don't think these guys are going to make it. They're kind of neat, but they're very alien, which, you know, sort of fits the Steel Psychic, but they are very alien. I did have a brief thought of making Celebi evolve into Gardevoir, but I don't think that works. The legendaries are going to be a bit of a problem, because they tend to be some of the better designs, and I don't want to get rid of them all. I could get rid of Clefairy altogether, because Clefairy is kind of a weird It's like a mix between a Chansey and a Jigglypuff. It's not quite as weak as a Jigglypuff and not quite as strong as a Chansey, but it has the one big thing it has going for it is its metronome ability, which makes it stand out. But I think they might have to go just because there's not enough room for compassion here. There's no fond memories. It's kind of like Corphish. It's like it's Crabby and Kingler Corphish to some extent. Like which crab creature do you want? Now I was complaining about how a lot of Pokemon have become too over-designed, but Corphish is almost in the opposite direction compared to a Krabby, where Krabby looks visceral and real. Like Krabby looks like something you would actually see on a beach, whereas Corphish looks obviously fake. Hoppip, Skiploom, and Jumpluff are the same. They look like 3D renders rather than a drawing of a alien creature, or a creature that's very similar to our own. Misdrevious is kind of like a better version of... Do I get rid of this? Ghastly was one of my favorite Pokemon for a long time as well. It would feel wrong not to have Ghastly in the game, but I never liked evolving Ghastly. And I don't really see Ghastly evolving into a Misdrevious. They don't quite have the same appearance. I could get rid of Pichu. Oh, that feels weird. But there just isn't space. And Raichu as well then, yeah. And just have Pikachu stand on its own. It feels wrong. And I think I've been the defender of these Charbugs for a long time, but I don't think they can keep their place. Crestlet can go as well. Like, I don't want to get rid of the Charbugs, but it's like, okay, well then, who are you going to get rid of instead? And it gets rough. I think some of these legendaries would have to stop being legendaries, like Shaman. Or Shaman's kind of a weird legendary-ish Pokemon, I guess. I think Numel just has to go. And Swinub. These kind of become like Taurus, a standalone big animal that you would see in like a... I don't know what they're called typically. It used to be called a game farm where I live, or a wildlife preserve, I guess. It's these big creatures roaming in their paddocks, that sort of thing. Like a camel and a large boar and a bull. They could make their own sort of trio of ice, fire, and normal. I like that. That feels cool. If I got rid of Noctowl, like like I've said before, I'm not really a huge fan of Noctowl. I could get rid of Dunsparce. It's not bad by any means, but he's not exciting, right? And if I need to get rid of 50 Pokemon, that's just an extra space. Oh, that feels bad. I'm looking at Starly and thinking, would I rather catch a Starly or a Hoothoot? And I'd rather catch a... Why not have a world where every Pokemon excites me instead of makes me want to have it in my team out of spite, you know? When I play Pokemon, first time I played Pokemon Infinite Fusion, I fuse like everything with a Hoothoot. I don't know what's wrong with me there. These guys are cooler than Ghastly. Shuppet as well. I mean, then like that whole line. They fit very well. Like I really want all of them in. This Tepig could be related to that Spoink that we had earlier. Oh, these guys are good too. Weird that they're bug instead of water. I wonder if there's a way to link Execute to Tropius. I think Clefairy has to go. You can't have them all. If I got rid of Geodude, Graveler, and Golem, that's a lot of spaces. And the question is, what is the rocky... I guess part of the question is, am I trying to keep a balanced group or just the best Pokemon? And maybe I don't care if it's balanced. Because this is meant to be, what are the good Pokemon worth keeping in a game, right? Although I think, at this point, I think there's probably around like 400 really solid Pokemon. These just aren't going to make it, I don't think. And you're not going to make it. But yeah, it's feeling like there is actually... Yeah, you don't really stand out as anything special. I guess Basculin turns into Basculegion. This Weirdeer is cool. I want to keep that. Wooloo and Yamper can go. Ooh, does that... Would I really have those over like a Pidgey? Pidgey gets kind of... Pidgey and Zubat, they, you know, they're so common that you forget how great of a design they are in some ways. I think Farfetch'd has to go. Because you need some normal Pokemon, like Rattata and Pidgey, to make the world feel alive. If everything is a unique... And that isn't to say... Like, I would keep them regardless this isn't about balancing out Pokemon so there's some boring ones and some not. It's that the being a baseline isn't a bad thing, even if you're not the most exciting thing. There is a well-designed baseline. And like Skitty and Delkitty aren't, for example, but Rattata and Raticate are, and Pidgey and Pidgeotto are. There's not room for Clodsire. There might not be room for Wooper. I don't know, you see a Wooper, I'm imagining these Pokemon jumping out of the grass, right? That's sort of my rule of thumb. You see a Wooper and you're like, oh yeah, that's a Pokemon. And you see an Articuno and you're excited. You see a Fafnir and you're like, what? Look, if it doesn't immediately spark joy, it's the sort of, we're going by the, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no now, alright? That's the rules we're playing by. I like you in Rivals of Aether, someone made a very good mod. Wartortle is one of the very few secondaries that actually looks good. Mewtwo, classic. See, Machop I don't actually like that much, but the Machamp No Guard is so cool. Tentacool, you see that, you're like, I'm gonna see that's part of the reason that the lower evolutions are good though. You see like a Tentacool and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get a Tentacool one day. You see Rookidee, you're like, I'm gonna get a Corviknight. Yamper, I'm sorry. Wolo is the kind of Pokemon you grab and then you chuck out later because it's not going anywhere. It's kind of a dead end, like especially if I got rid of its evolution. I made it a dead end, but it's really neat what they did in the game though. I haven't played it, but you can. I've seen the videos where you can chase them around like you're a sheep herder or something. I don't know what to do about these guys. What if I just get rid of them and then I bring them back later? That way it gives me a bit of space. Because nothing is permanent, right? It's sometimes better to just make a decision and then you can undo it later. Because I need to get rid of 50 and it'll be faster if I just get rid of everything that I'm like, maybe, maybe not, and I just get rid of them all. Okay, do I add Frostmoth to the delightful cornucopia that is my Caterpie? I could give it the little feelers of the Frostmoth. Snom is great. Snom, look, I've been playing a bunch of Wild Frost since the latest update, and I don't know, Snom feels like they're straight out of Wild Frost. I love the snakes. I really wish that I could keep them in my team, but it never feels like you get them at the right time, and it never feels like they're that useful. I like these guys a lot. Do I even like the... I really like the idea of a Nidoking and a Nidoqueen. I always go for one. I really like the idea of having a poison Pokemon, but I never really make it work. I don't think poison stands on its own enough to actually work. We're getting rid of Haunter and Gengar. Like I said, we can always bring them back. Do I just get rid of... I think I get rid of all these guys. Yeah. Ooh. The poor Savari Zone. Savari Zone is so cool. It's always this place of the slightly unusual Pokemon. They did it very well. I don't know what unites them exactly. They feel a bit rougher, a bit more wild, a bit more untamed. The Savari Zone Pokemon. And they're exciting. Rhyhorn is one of the few Pokemon that I'm saying is a shoo-in easily. Because they were the first Pokemon, right? Togepi and Togekiss, they're my new fairy squad. I like the Reggies, except for the new ones. I didn't really like those. I guess we're getting rid of Golbat. Krabby and Kingler, again, I really like how rough they are. They feel real, which you don't see too often. We're gonna get rid of Voltorb and Electrode for now. I will probably bring them back. These are my first priority to bring back, but I'm gonna get rid of them for now. There's someone driving back and forth on the road for some reason. I think they're learning how to drive an ATV, so you pick up the dog on it, that's what's going on. Paris and Parasect, they're kind of similar to Krabby. They're raw, they're nasty, they're a zombie. You don't see that done in such a brutal fashion too often. Lickitung is in the Kangaskhan and Tauros camp of being this really interesting safari-like Pokemon. I don't think Lickitung you actually get from the Safari Zone, but they have that untamed feel to them still. Okay, I think the dog might have calmed down. I like coughing and wheezing a lot, the sort of virus-y pollution Pokemon thing. I wonder if they should, just replace Grimer. We're gonna do the old we can bring Grimer back, of course. We can always bring it back. I could just straight up get rid of Chikorita, but I do like the idea of Tropius having a lower evolution. The monkeys are gonna go. And if those monkeys go, these monkeys go. Where are they at? Where are those flaming monkeys at? They're there. They go. I don't think Pokemon, one thing they've never done is having two lower evolutions convergently evolve into the same higher evolution, like a Turtwig turn into a Venusaur as well or something. That would be a realm to explore. I don't know if it would be a good idea or not. They've probably thought of it. I actually really do like Celebi. Abracadabra, Alakazam. The classic Abra Teleport Away is so good. Pikachu, of course, they're staying. Kyogre and Groudon. I really like the idea of a big, tough legendary, but I need space, right? The bugs have to go. If this is a fire and a water, then yeah, I like it. We've got a series of dinosaurs here, which is kind of neat. Seal and Dewgong. Again, like I said right at the beginning, they're not ordinary Pokemon. I mean, sorry, they're not Pokemon, they're just ordinary animals. I think we get rid of Ambipom. He's good, but he's like, yeah, whatever. Dark Psychic. They're not even water type, which is weird. I think I'll get rid of them for that. Get rid of the balloons as well, because they look weird. I got rid of Yamper, right? Yeah. Wolo into Mareep is actually a pretty cool evolutionary tree. I kind of like that. I think Sunkern and oh. It's just a... I don't know. They'll go for now. C-Dot needs a home. I think I brought... There's like... He could turn into Cacnea or he could turn into... Turtwig. Like, I think C-Dot is such a great looking Pokemon and his evolution kind of isn't that good looking. It's a real shame. He needs someone worthy of himself. Could I make Mudkip evolve into Quagsire? Would that be insane? At the very least, I'm gonna do that. I might do Wooper into Mudkip into Quagsire. Like, Quagsire doesn't look like a third evolution, you know? He doesn't have quite the... he doesn't have the raw power of a standalone evolution. Or the, like, complexity and sense of journey of the third level evolution. So, then again, Vileplume is on the edge of that, so... Okay, is that 50? That looked like a few. 47, 48, 49. One more. I could get rid of Abracadabra Alakazam for Natu and Xatu, but the spoons are kind of silly. For some reason I really like them, but if I think about it, if they had been introduced in like Gen 8, I'd probably hate them. But they're so woven, like Sabrina doesn't she have an Abra doll or something? Or maybe she just carries around an Abra. They're so woven into the, and I was complaining about Pokemon being like men, and Alakazam is, what, he's got an IQ of 5 million? He's got like the combined intelligence of planet Earth in his brain. But something about seeing that Abra in the grass, you know, it's always exciting because he's so hard to catch. But if Natu had teleport, would that... I don't know. Abracadabra and Alakazam break all my rules. They really do break all my rules. Okay. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But that gives me 2 Pokemon. So obviously we save Absol. I guess we'll save them with this purple color. One thing I could also do is get rid of like redundancy. I'm gonna save Chansey. Like, we don't need a Buffalant because there's already a Taurus, right? So now what we get to do is all of these Pokemon are in. So now the question becomes, if I want any of these Pokemon, I have to cross out one of these Pokemon to add them in. So, Tandemaus and Maushold. Will I sacrifice, say, a Cubone and a Marowak to get them? Or a Lickitung and a Kangaskhan? Why do I still have Flustle and Minun? I mean, they're great, but they're just Pikachu, and they're taking up 2 spots. That said, I would rather have them than the... They're actually very similar to the Maushold in a lot of ways. Yeah, I don't think the Maushold gets in. And then we go, okay, Fidough and Dachshund. Would you get rid of a Pidgey and a Pidgeotto for them? Tempting. They're pretty cool. Would you get rid of a Machamp and a Wolo for... I'd get rid of a Wolo for them. And then I just need one more. Pyukumuku? I like the idea of Pyukumuku, but I don't entirely love its design. I get rid of Mewtwo. The reason I like Mewtwo is because he's so powerful. It's not really... Although he is kind of like just the evolution of Abracadabra Alakazam. Like he is... You can have your, you know, everyone has their own fan theories. Like I rediscovered my own of Venonat turned into Butterfree and Caterpie turned into Venomoth, and Gyarados being the evolution of Dragonair. Mewtwo could have been based on an Alakazam. I think that would be a pretty good fan theory. I could get rid of these 3 again. So now I have 2 spaces. Okay, so with those 2 spaces, I would like to get weirder. I like Piplup, but I don't really like the... I mean, I do like these 2 well enough, but I guess I'll grab Piplup for now, though. Okay, Lullaby and Mandibuzz. Would you rather have Fido and Dashbun or these 2? Really, it's going to come down to would I rather have Pidgey and Pidgeotto or Lullaby and Mandibuzz? Or maybe the Duo and Dodrio. The bone through the... I think the bone is a step too far. I think they don't make it. Okay. Machoke. I don't think the world needs a Spinda and a Tidursura. You know, I think Spinda's a fine Pokemon. But it needs something to evolve into. So yeah, Machoke is back in the game. These guys, they're not gonna make it. Okay, Goldeen. I'd give up those calamari things, but I already did. The coral I like too much. Would I give up Fungoose and a Mongoose? The shields are a bit of a step too far, but it needs an, it needs an evolution. And I really do like Foongus. Got a lot of water ground. It's a neat typing, I guess, but yeah, I don't need... Mudkip could evolve into a Wishcash almost. Like there is a bit of a similarity there. Sea Queen evolve into a Whale Lord, the Queen into the Lord. Should be the other way around. Yeah, Whalmer doesn't quite inspire me, but I really like Whale Lord having the lower evolution. But maybe there's not room for not quites, and you just have to find the Titan in the sea. But does that give me a Goldeen? I do think Goldeen's pretty cool. I'm probably the first person to ever say that. Okay, Sea King. I don't think you need both. You get one or the other. That's enough. You know, when you got 200, you don't need repeats. Okay, Bramblegast. Yeah. I like the idea. I don't really like the execution. No, that's not... Okay, the Dung Beetle. Let's see what it has to make me dislike it, so I can justify getting rid of it. Well, it's got a little man's face on it. Well, that makes my job easier. Finizen. Just a fun dolphin with a ring around its tail. That's kind of weird. It's like it's in captivity. Goldeen or Finizen? See, one thing I really like about Pokemon is how wild they feel. I think that's actually a huge aspect of what I like about Pokemon, is that they feel like wild creatures, but Finizen looks like a dolphin tamed for tricks. You get rid of the ring from its tail, make it look a bit less dopey and happy, and a bit more like a dolphin, you know? Onto something, but yeah. And Goldeen does, it has that raw, like, I am a sea creature type feel to it. A Kingdra I would really like to have. Would I give up like a Machoke for a Kingdra? Because now that I'm thinking about it in terms of in the wild, but you see like a wild man, that's your Machoke maybe. But the belt is weird. I know that's meant to be something that's added to them to limit their power, but still a bit weird. Now in some ways the question is, do you need a Scizor and a Kleavor if you already have a Scyther? Do you need a Heracross and a Pinsir? If you only get 200, you know, maybe you should just pick your favorite. I think my favorite is Pinsir because he's more inhuman and brutal looking. If these were like big beetles on their front, like, oh, that would be amazing. I'm almost tempted to get rid of Pinsir because he's not, but I feel like you need a beetle because this is all based around beetle fighting, and it is based, like Hercules beetles would be perfect, but maybe I do get rid of them for the moment. Both of them. And second gen really knew it was up, eh? Everything they add was pretty solid. Except for Tyrogue. And Tyrogue was a nice idea. I don't like how they did it. And I don't know if there was a way to save the weird martial arts shout-out Pokemon. Muck and Steelix. I don't think I can fight for them. I think it's too hard. Now, do we get Ursaluna instead of... I think, yeah, I like that. Get rid of Ursaring. And have the teddy bear skip straight to a beast. That's fun. Okay, Drowsy. Drowsy or Lickitung. Drowsy or Kangaskhan. Drowsy or Jigglypuff or Execute. These are a bit too, like, not animal. Like, I want something more like this, but that still looks like an animal. Because Drowsy looks more like an animal, but he's on his feet. You know, I don't really think they're gonna make it, but I don't think Drowsy is either. Drowsy feels like he needs to evolve into something, but not a Hypno. Yeah. Basculegion's kind of fun with a Basculin, but I don't know... Would I get rid of, say, a Golding? Not quite, but maybe like a... Where's that Manatee? Like, get rid of this Manatee for... Problem is, there's already a bunch of fish, and there's not so many manatees, but a ghost fish is really cool. Would I get rid of Honedge and Aegislash for it? Would I get rid of Finneon and Lumion? These are perfect, right? But they're perfect in the Golding sense. They're just fish, but they're fish. These could be ghosts. It kind of, I think it does come down to them or the Basculin. It's fine. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Very soft brush. Let colors. That looks bad. These look a lot like angelfish or fighting fish, maybe. I knew someone that had it was a babysitter of mine. She had some fighting fish. Took her over to her house and showed them to us, and they had these long streamers coming off of them. Longer than this, actually. So yeah, these are much more angelfishy. That looks okay, I guess. The question is, does it look better than just the base? I mean, not really, but... Oh, maybe that was a lost cause. I'm sorry, Basculin and Basculegion. You're some of the best, but it's getting tricky out here. Orthworm. That's an Orthworm over there. Get rid of Onyx. No. He's got a little face. Yeah, they give him a face. There's just not room for you. Clobbopus. Growlithe Arcanine. I've already got a Ponyta and a Rapidash. I don't think there's going to be space for them. Delmise I really like. Get rid of these two for a Delmise. Get rid of Honedge and Aegislash for a Delmise. Get rid of a Cubitops. Get rid of a Cleavor. It looks like a Bionicle. Caesar... It's fairly lazy evolution in a lot of ways. It's not even as good looking as... Okay. That gives me a Delmise. That Compass, I guess, makes sort of an eye, but it's not too bad. I have one to spare. It's gotta be Zubat, right? Sacrificing a Pokemon to save a Zubat. What a world. Okay, I really like the idea of Hippopotamus, but the eyes up here and the nose and... Yeah, it doesn't work. Now, Hippowdon, we're talking. But we'll come... Okay, Clobbopus. Get rid of a Golding for a Clobbopus. They actually have a similar color scheme. You could almost evolve one into the other. It wouldn't make any sense at all, but you could. Get rid of Machoke for Clobbopus. I think I like the idea of like the one pure... It's like the Titan. It's the untarnished, unblemished... It's the Superman of the Justice League. That's Machoke, right? He's boring in a way, but he's so pure. Or the Galahad of the King Arthur's Knights. But the purity itself is interesting in its own right. As long as there's only one. But if I don't get rid of Machoke, maybe I have to get rid of Clobbopus. And I don't really want to get rid of that Clobbopus. Get rid of the Phalanx? This should be a bug or a steel type or something, you know? It's kind of weird that it's not. I could get rid of these 3 Reggies just because there's not the space for legendaries, you know? But I do like them. But if I'm trying to condense, then it's like, okay, you got the Regigigas, you got the... You get the idea now. So Clobpuss can come on board. And 2 more. Let me grab those. Okay, Iron Thorns. I'm afraid you're not going to make it. Flamigo, I'd be surprised if you make it. I could get rid of Pidgey and Pidgeotto and just replace it with a single Flamigo, I guess. These things aren't going to make it. Unless they replace Wishcash and Goldeen, I guess. But they're a bit too like, oh, here's a human cutting board, which isn't the same wild mystery feeling. You peer around a bush and you never know what you'll find. It's like, oh, it'll just be another bit of human junk in the woods. I think that is my problem with a lot of modern designs, is the lack of raw wildness. Discovery. Discovery is very important, and I think a wildness is important for discovery. If it looks too tame, there is no discovery. Like, Xatu looks like the one tame Pokemon that's lived beside humans for thousands of years, and you're like, okay, yeah, there's one of those, that's cool. But you do that with half your Pokemon, and suddenly it's not interesting anymore. Like Blossom as well. Do I get rid of Blossom? That's kind of like a little forest sprite done right, you know? But I am tempted to get rid of it. Do I need this Rosalia if I have a Blossom? They're kind of the same thing. But this one's just almost too much on the nose. Okay, that's 2 more spots. I'll take the Flamigo for now. So I'll take the Spiritomb. Slug boys, slug boys, slug boys. Now, Gastrodon looks quite a bit more wild than Shellos. But the baby Pokemon can look a bit more babyish, you know, like a kitten. They can lure you in with the kitten. That's what a lot of Pokemon do. There's so many ground water now. You know, when Quagsire did it, it was cool, but now everyone does it. There's not really any other salamanders left in... Well, I don't know what Mudkip is. I guess he's a Mudkip. Is that what they're called? So he's like a catfish, right? What's a Mudkip? He's a Mudskipper, right? Or possibly an Axolotl. Or a Lungfish. Yeah, I always thought he was a Lungfish, I think, was what I thought. Or some sort of salamandery thing. Yeah, I could see the Mudskipper. Get rid of Wooper. Mudkip evolves into Quagsire. They don't really share the design for it. Mudkip evolves into Wishcash makes a bit more sense. Let's just spitball this for a second. Okay, so first of all, so you stick the W on his head, but small like. Why does Wishcash have a W? Does it stand for wish? If it does, not happy with it. Looks like he's got an artifact on his head. Perfect. And then we take this thing and we use it instead. The color scheme needs to bring them in alignment with each other a little bit there. Do I dare see what would happen if I try this? This might be a step too far. It's beautiful. All right, I think I'll have to end it there, and we'll have to do another episode or two. So we're getting there, though. We're getting there. It's been brutal, but we're getting there. Look at all those X's, and still so many more to go. Until next time, you take care. No, you know what? Don't take care. Be dangerous. Be cool. Have fun. But like, don't hold me accountable for it. Don't be dangerous. Be seek adventure. Doesn't mean you have to go on a big, expensive trip. Just, you know, be brave. Take bravery with you. May bravery be with you.